Holden. You're mixing up your movies, Brandon.
Welcome to a special TV show episode of Three and a Half Gentlemen, the podcast, where three of the four hosts provide a refined and intellectual analysis of movies from our private collections, or in this case, TV shows, and one of us tries desperately to keep up. We'll let you decide which host is which, but for now, my name is Sean, and with me, as always, are my fellow yacht partiers. I reject this script, and I'm going to go boatsman, Jeremiah.
Yeah, this is like Final Destination. Shit. What's up?
Eddie?
Is this like a "you killed my father, prepare to die" type thing?
I wrote that one down.
And Brandon.
You can escape the karmic cycle. That was my backup, though, Ed, because I knew you were going to freaking take mine.
Sorry, Brandon. Throughout Season 6, we're going to be talking about several different TV shows, starting with White Lotus Season 3, the hit show on HBO Max.
HBO Max, yo. As with every review we give, our goal is to answer one simple question. How many drinks does it take to get through the film? Or in this case, a show that we just watched. Now, at the end of the podcast, we'll rate each episode based on a scale of 0 to 5, with 0 being a perfect episode that you can watch stone cold sober, and 5 being sort of the episode that makes you feel like you just accidentally got flashed by your dad in a robe, and he was not wearing any underpants.
Horrible.
I'm just going to say, man.
That hit hard.
Father penises are scary, man. I'm just saying.
I'm sorry. I maybe I'm just a prude, but just eliminate the penises altogether. I don't need to see any penis. Anytime a movie or TV show really wants to show a dick,
Did they do it in Season 1? Did they show it in Season 1?
Remember Steve Zahn's dick.
Yeah,
bro. If you see boobies, you see dick. It's only fair as fair.
That's not the same thing. Boobies and dick are not the same thing. One of them is north, one of them is south.
They're privates. kind of similar.
With that, what episode do we have dangling in front of us tonight, gentlemen?
Oh, dangling! I see what you did there. Don't like what you did there. I see it. Listen, everybody. The White Lotus takes viewers into and behind the scenes of the swanky White Lotus Resort. While seasons 1 and 2 took us to Hawaii and the Sicilian coast, respectively, the third season brings us to Thailand. Specifically, episode 4 of this third season follows the tangential plots as they start to connect with the Ratliff family, along with Rick and Chelsea going out on Greg Gary's yacht. I'm just going to call him Gregory. While this is happening,
Tanya's yacht. That's Tanya's yacht.
Glenn Ross.
Gary Ross, right? Now, while all this is happening, our trio of women go looking for a fun day and night out, for which they employ Valentine. And then there's Guy Talk, who is watching his steady life as a guard at the resort crumble around him. As of this recording, the season has an IMDb score of 7.9 for the episode, and an average critic score of 95%, and an audience score of 87% on Rotten Tomatoes for the show. And I'm just saying, every week that I do this, we're seeing it trickle down just a little bit, just 1%.
Well, you're gonna see it trickle down because it's not 100, and you're gonna see disappointment set in like you did last week. Where I think the whole point of last week, as Brandon and I think Eddie so eloquently said, is they stretched the episodes out by one, and they needed just to fill the material. Because how can you have such a disappointingly dry and dull episode of 3, and then all of a sudden episode 4 is just packed, and you could tell episode 5 is going to be better because you've got the moon ceremony and whatever there, you got them starting to party and split up, and clearly people are getting some frisky on, and it's like you got to give me some action, and finally they're giving me something. I will say at the end of last episode, I was the one who said, you got to give it. You got to give me something. And this episode, they gave me something.
When is this season is going to get fucking weird, though? Like season 1 and season 2.
They dropped it with the first episode with the Ratliffs.
Yeah, like when they first announced, like, they're going to go to Thailand for season 3, I'm like, oh shit, it's going to be like Eyes Wide Shut. And it's like, it's not even HBO anymore, man. This is like, why don't you just put the show on Peacock for whatever?
It's PG-13. It got PG-13, and then randomly you saw Dick. And then back to PG-13.
The Moon Festival is coming, and the Moon Festival is coming not just for the brothers who are clearly going to embark on some shit, but also for the 3 women who now have gone from being in an old folks home pool party to what's his name, the healer, the
Valentine
masseuse guy. Valentine has brought in 2 party guys. They are there to party.
I mean, I'm pretty sure those two guys are the ones that like robbed
They're living on the edge, Jeremiah. Who else do you want to party with?
I'm just saying, I'm pretty sure those two guys were the same two guys that robbed the resort. When you think about it,
It's
that
call.
would be an interesting twist.
I'm gonna go ahead and say that last episode we all know I hated because they're just pointless and boring. But this one, much better score coming your way. That said, there's just one thing that really frustrated me with this, and I want to throw it out to you guys, see what you think. Mm-hmm. It's the fact that I feel like for 2.5 seasons now, every episode ends at the end of the night, right? We have some kind of closure going on. Sure, there's a little bit of a cliffhanger, but we really have kind of closure with it. I was frustrated that we didn't have closure with the 3 ladies going out there. Like I feel like their storyline, which I know is going to come weave in. I know it is, but I'm getting tired of being like, what's their purpose? And the fact that we have this run through and be squirted with a water bottle or water guns, and then it just seemed dumb, right? Did it seem dumb to you?
No, because they're prepping for a night of their lives. What we're kind of, I think, missing about this season in particular is it culminates, or it's building toward this night of frivolity, and every other part of the show has been, or every part of this vacation has been relaxation, rehabilitation, and this is going to be complete animalistic behavior from all of the vacation goers. You've got them going to this moon ceremony. The moon ceremony is going to bleed over into all the characters, no matter what. Yeah. You've also got the rat lifts that are unwinding before your eyes. He's now taking the gun. You don't know what he's going to do.
He's a druggie.
He's taking the trazepam or whatever the drug is. What's her name? Parker Posey is starting to realize what's happening and realize there's trouble in paradise, by the way, because she keeps catching him in his sighs and his rolling eyes and she's not stupid. She's not an idiot. She knows what the fuck's going on. And so I think this is all just heading toward a denouement of craziness. And I think that in and of itself is going to be the hallmark of this season.
Let's hope so that it does that, because right now this season feels like I'm watching season 2 of House of Dragon, where it just kept building up and building up and building up, and then literally didn't do a fucking thing at the end of that season.
Well, I do like the build up with Belinda and Gary, or Greg. You got a little bit the throwback with the music, and she connected the dots and she looked up, which got me thinking. I also saw something, some of the reels that said this season, and it piqued my interest of like the timeline of this season and last season. Yeah. I think it's a lot closer than we all think. I think it's like a couple weeks apart.
I'm going to call BS.
That could be the denouement, is that it precedes Italy, and if it precedes Italy, we're going to see fucking what's her name. We don't know that.
No, because Belinda looked her up. They already
show that she already died.
Mm-hmm. But it shows that it's still open investigation.
Damn it!
It still shows it's okay. It still shows it's an open investigation, meaning like it looks like it's only a couple weeks old. Right. So it looks like that Gary, he left town quickly.
Well, he left in episode 2 of season 2.
Remember, he's talking on the phone to somebody, says, "I love you. I'm coming home." Which home could then be Thailand. Now, personally, Eddie, I saw the reel that you sent, and I appreciate you sending it. I don't think that I think that's a stretch.
I think you're wrong, Fabian.
Okay, yeah, it's Fabian, but it's fine. No, I think that I like the idea of it, but I think that there's more distance between it, because I really think that this is a great Gary. This is his MO. Now, I like the idea, kind of what we floated last time, which is that Greg Gary is FBI, or he's something bigger than BLM, right? That he's just something more, and there's something deeper to it, but I don't know what it is.
I mean, he could end up being a good guy too. I mean, I don't mean to keep saying that. I've said that now twice. He could end up being a federal agent investigating, let's say, the Ratcliffes or the Ratlifts. He could be a lot of things.
He could be investigating the White Lotuses. Like, overall, that's his job, is to investigate the White Lotuses. And like, he's moving from White Lotus to White Lotus, and it just happens to be the same timeline.
What? Yeah, like those people coming up with hanging out with that one misused guy. what if they're actually tied into the other gang from like season 2 or something like that?
Right.
I mean,
wasn't that younger gentleman who ended up not being his
no,
nephew
I think
Russian?
Oh, he might have been actually.
it could be like your next type of thing where these girls have to like literally fight to the death to these guys or something like that.
Can I just say something before we go much further? Because I'm talking about Michelle Monaghan and her character. She must not be that popular of an actress if she's in Thailand and has no security and no like entourage.
Yeah, I think she's a soap opera star.
Wouldn't people be mobbing her in the street, like recognizing her? Like,
I think she's more of I think she's more of a soap opera star. I think she's a daytime
reality
TV
star,
something like
you
that.
get that when she goes over to the other pool party.
The
old
retirement
people
because they barely noticed her, right? They're like, "Are you famous?"
Why do you think Valentine sent them to the old folks' home? Was it to set them up to have them come get him and piss? Like, what do you think about that? Like, was that?
I think that they're being cautious. I think that the White Lotus people are cautious in where they send people. I think that we as serfs and paupers don't quite understand the expense of this vacation, how expensive this place is, and how exclusive this place is.
Yeah, I mean, they even said the White Lotus is like the posh. Like they won't even let you in unless you have reservations, like on the other resort. So they make it sound like White Lotus is hard to even get into, to even visit.
But I mean, aren't you guys just feeling a little like, come on, what's up with this storyline with these 3 girls, man? We're only halfway in the season and they're still the same.
There's nothing
characters. Like there's no deaths or anything. Like, there's nothing going on with it. It's a little annoying.
Well, they just bitch about each other. Now, honestly, I think that this is, though, here's my prediction right now. That something bad separate from the inciting incident, right? Separate from the gunshots and the floating body and all that stuff. I think one of the 3 of them is going to die. I think one of the 3 of them is going to kill one of them. And I think that that's going to be a separate issue, that we're going to actually have separate deaths going on.
And we did learn a little bit. Yeah, and we did learn a little bit in episode 4, which I will say, finally we got some answers. I think Brandon texted that in the group chat. Finally, some answers. You have Michelle Monaghan is not in a happy relationship. She's not in a good relationship with her boyfriend or husband. I can't remember. Yeah, being cheated on. There's something going on in there. So now she's going to loosen up. She's going to do something that she regrets. There's going to be some problems with it. And remember, we're in Thailand. You can get into trouble very quickly in a place like Thailand. Like, I mean, I've seen Hangover 2. This could be very, very dangerous.
This is what I've been waiting for Thailand, man. This is the theme of the season. Like, why are you not going to bring Thailand into this, man? I'm waiting for it.
So, okay, so we got 2 major revelations. Number 1, we've got Sister is not going there to write her thesis. She's going to become a Buddhist at the temple there. She's gonna move there after she graduates. So that's 1. And 2, the big revelation that I know you guys love Rick a heck of a lot more than I love Rick, but what were your thoughts on Rick's finally, we checked that box and we said, okay, we were all right, but it's nice to have that confirmation that we were right? That Rick is going there to avenge his father's death, just like Inigo
Montoya. We knew
Montoya.
that from almost season 1, it felt like. It felt like we knew that a long time ago.
We did.
I was gonna say, like, that they overplayed that story of Rick. Like, they should have showed that a little earlier. Yeah. They built it up too much and everyone knew it. I do think he's probably not going to have joy out of what I think maybe he might even get the chance to kill the owner, and then he's just like, he's going to find out maybe it's not the him, and maybe it's the wife, and then that's when all shit's going to break loose or something. That, and she's the famous actress who owns the White Lotus in Thailand. It's something else is going to happen where it flips to, obviously, White Lotus does that a lot. They make you think like, oh, it's this, and he finds it, and then it's like, oh, time out, it's actually this person.
And we know that IMDb has thankfully given us the idea that Scott Glenn is playing the role of that man. And I love me a Scott Glenn. I love me a Scott Glenn.
That's pretty awesome.
See,
maybe it's actually the real father.
Mm-hmm.
I would love the I was gonna say I would love the reveal to be something like they did in the Batman movie with what's his name,
Joker?
Robert Pattinson. No, it was Robert Pattinson, where the villain has this big reveal with the Catwoman, and it's like, it's not what you think it is. What happened was not what you think. Or what happened with Batman's dad and the villain was not what you think. And then all of a sudden there's some humanity there. It's not black and white. And I think that's what
and
the
Scott
show
Glenn
kind
can bring that in.
Right. He's a prolific enough actor where he can bring you crazy villain to sweetheart in a minute. Like he's going to be, I'm super looking forward to him.
Yeah.
But I do agree with Jeremiah that there's something about this season particularly where I don't know if the characters feel underdeveloped, or they feel like they're stagnant, or I feel like the acting is not as good. There's something going on, and I can't quite put my foot on or finger on it, that they're not progressing in the way that they should. I agree with you, Jeremiah. Yeah.
Eddie, you said it.
They all have the same vibe since the episode 1. Not one of them has changed. Not one of them has had any type of situation. You just
Except
get
Rick.
kind of a situation. Yeah, well, Rick is, but then he closes himself off and then just gets kind of like, okay, you're being the brute guy here again. You're going to close her off again.
I think the problem is we got too many different directions.
The younger brother has changed this episode. I feel like
he's becoming more assertive. Yeah,
he wants to be close to his brother. He misses. I feel like that brotherly bond. Like it's opening up. Like I feel like he's closer to his sister because the brother always is at work, and now this is his chance to get close to his brother. And now he wants to like, oh, hey, this is how I'm supposed to be. Maybe something else is going to come out of it. But overall, he just wants his brother's attention, it feels like.
Are you guys even rooting for anyone in this series?
And that's why I said last week.
I never do.
Root for Isaac.
No,
Come on,
I do.
Isaac. Don't get caught by the FBI.
So let's hold on.
Just like, come on.
Let's go back for a second though, and I want to just address what Eddie just said. I think that you, Brandon, and you, Jeremiah, perhaps don't understand it because you were the oldest children and left. But when you lose a sibling to college or to the world or whatever you want to call it, and you're still stuck with the family unit, there's this longing to have those moments back. And I think that what we're seeing is he's trying to climb back into his brother's good graces. And I don't think I've abandoned the incestual side of this. I think that was just a jump scare, for instance, like whatever you want to call it, a flash in the pan. I think that he wants to be like his brother.
Yeah, his brother's fun. In his eyes, his brother's fun. His life has been boring. I feel like it's been almost planned out for him to go to college, for him to go to Yale, for him to follow the footsteps. He's like, bro, like I want to have some fun.
I hear you.
19.
I think you guys are missing the bigger picture on this one, dude.
What's the bigger picture then?
What I'm saying is this, guys, is that it's not like he just wanted to be with his brother. He only joined his brother out of spite because of what his sister told him. That's the only reason why he hanged out with his brother. It was out of spite, dude. His whole change of his attitude, his feelings, when she said that she wanted to stay, and she was like, "Can you please be there for me?"
He left his sister in the very season, I think episode 2 at the Buddha temple. Like, hey, all right, well, I'm gonna bounce and go back over here with my brother at the pool. Like, I feel like he's kind of neutral. I feel like he gets more of his sister than his brother because his brother always works. This is his first time alone with his brother.
Well, I agree with the sister's boring, but the moment she told him that I'm going to stay here, his body language just changed. It all changed
because it's flashbacks of his brother leaving him.
All right, so I want to throw this out there.
You're leaving me too.
I want to throw this out there since we're on the rat lifts. I think we need to talk about.
I hate the rat lifts.
I do too. I think we need to talk about the character, Jason Isaacs' character, how he was. I thought a really good character for 3 episodes. Or 2 episodes really, and then has just completely dropped off the wayside right now. I feel like, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like he's a completely wasted character. Now, granted, him taking the gun, he's the Chekhov gun, but I know.
No.
You can't read into it.
It's episode 4. Come on,
out of 8.
This is the 8. Okay, but you have. Okay, I understand that, but you can't say he's a wasted character when he could have the character change. This is like any given Sunday. Any character at any time can take their character and flip it and become the most interesting person. I remember watching a little show called Lost, and there was a little character named John fucking Locke, and John Locke was kind of stupid and arrogant and loud.
Very.
And then all of a sudden,
Wow.
you had
And he
his
can walk.
episode,
Wow.
and holy shit.
Brandon, you have to
Episode
clap
what,
with this
3
one. This is
though?
good.
In one
Come on, Brandon.
episode, he
Clap with
changed
this.
his whole character. But if you did that with Sawyer, you
One
did that
episode out of 20.
constantly. But what I'm saying, I mean, even like Rodrigo Santoro in that show and Nikki, when they got buried alive, you have to understand, any episode can change on a dime. Any
But here's
character
the
can
thing,
change
Sean.
on a dime.
I'm going to get on what you're
But
saying.
Give me
you
the
had
chills right now.
22 episodes for Lost. You only have
Exactly. Give me
8
the
seasons,
chills.
8 episodes for this.
And we cared
understand.
about those characters. The first 10 minutes of that show of Lost, we cared about, Claire, we cared about Jack, we cared about these characters. I don't care if literally all of them get tidal wave destruction. I don't
And I
care.
told
And
you,
that's
this season's about Schadenfreude, and it's okay. Watching people fail
I know.
that's what it's about. You're not
I
supposed
want
to care about these
somebody.
people.
I
You're
want
supposed
somebody.
to watch them destroy themselves and eat themselves alive. You had Leslie Bibb, who kind of said, well, I'm an independent, but my husband's a conservative, might have voted for Trump. I'm from Texas. And just the vitriol that comes out of that of Michelle Monaghan's mouth, it's like, we can't just live in harmony. This is what the show's about. It's not about likable people. It's about watching these people who are so set in their ways, or so arrogant, just devolve into chaos. That's what we're watching. And so I think that when Jennifer Coolidge died, there went the last character that you really cared about.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and that's
I
a
agree.
problem.
It's still dragging. As much as you want to paint it, and put a feather up your ass and call yourself a chicken, it's not bad, dude, okay? Okay.
This episode picked it up, has it not? It picked up a little bit
It
sooner.
picked it up. But the problem is that it picked up because the other annoying character in this show is this security guy. I mean, he's got to be the worst fucking security person on the planet.
I agree.
Like,
What do you need security for? This is a 10-star resort. Why do you need security?
The dude just was like,
Why
I'm
does
going
he
to
need a
walk you up
gun?
there. But he's like, I'm going to walk you up there and abandon his post, which is just already, what, 2 days
My
before?
favorite is he's going to abandon his post with the gun out. With it, like here, I've given you this key because this key is where the gun should be, but we're just going to fucking leave it out because, number one, you've never used a gun before in your life. Go to the range after work. I'm not going to.
I was waiting for him to turn it to himself and just look up the barrel.
I believe that he needs 10 hours of training, intense training to carry a gun on those premises and those people. He needs supervision. He needs someone to control that situation. Giving a random guy a gun is not a smart move. That's just not a smart move.
Yeah.
This gun I think this gun's gonna get passed around by every big group.
That'd be cool.
I feel like, and so
I'd be
so I
fine.
feel like everyone's gonna have their handprints on this gun.
Let me bring you back to season 1 for a moment, okay? Let me bring you back. Season 1 ended with a guy stabbing another guy. In the last episode, the last 5 seconds, you found out who the murderers are. So let's not get ahead of ourselves and think it's going to be this big, drawn out, emotional. The show could literally end 15 seconds after it started. White Lotus, there's no rules. There's no rules. It's like the Outback.
I got one more question for you guys, okay? But I do have a feeling that we're going to have multiple characters that are killed in this season.
I agree.
I
have
said
a
that
feeling.
shit. I said
Well,
that.
I agree with that shit,
Every
Ed.
group.
Okay, well, I'm just
Jeremiah, I
agreeing
agree
with
with
it.
you.
Thank you, dude.
Yes.
I said that shit. So, question: what do you think is going to happen with the next episode? What is your thought process?
I'll go first.
Go ahead.
I'll go first. I think the gun's gonna get passed around. I feel like Isaacs is gonna lose a gun somehow, and it's gonna get passed to the next group. I feel like this time it's gonna be one of the girls. Somehow it's gonna get to them, like this weird way of getting to them. It's gonna be a stupid way, but it's gonna somehow get to in one of their hands. One of them's also gonna have an affair. The married ones out of the two that are married. Because you have the famous one, you got the idea that her husband, who she knows is cheating, she's not with him anymore, who's famous.
Yeah.
So you got the idea that she's looking for some love, some attention.
Revenge sex. I got you.
Revenge sex. Yeah, you got that. That's coming for sure from her. And then I feel like also Rick is going to come face to face with something that he realizes that he's just wants to talk it out almost. And he doesn't want to hurt the person as much.
We don't want to know what he wants to do. We have no indication of what he wants to do once he
Agreed.
gets there to Scott Glenn. We don't know.
So it was Chelsea. I think it was Chelsea, the one that made it seem like, is this a, hey, you killed my father, prepare to die type thing? And he's like, I don't know what it is. I just want to I want to talk to the person that supposedly saw my dad at his last steps.
And I was thinking maybe who he called in Bangkok was a sibling.
Here's my thought is I think that we're going to start, like Clue. I think we're going to start losing people next episode. And my thought is that
one by one.
Well, here's I'm going to call it right now.
Yep.
Somebody who's not a main character on the yacht is going to die, and it's going to be because of the brothers. The brothers are going to accidentally kill somebody, and that's going to add an extra layer of shitstorm. I think that the girls are going to have the best time out. I also think that we are not going to Bangkok. We're not going to see Bangkok. I think that Scott Glenn's character is going to be traveling to the White Lotus. It's going to be a last-minute change, and I think that Rick is going to confront him in the White Lotus.
Okay.
And also, little sister's going to break it to mom and dad, and they're going to have a shit fit. But it's going to get swept under the rug and forgotten because the sisters are forgotten because the two brothers were implicated in somebody's death.
Is mom going to find out that the husband took all the pills and just pissed off too?
I don't think she cares. They got bigger fish to fry.
If the Moon Festival is somewhere near Bangkok, I think that we will see Bangkok. So I think the Moon Festival is going to be a hedonistic, thrilling, end of the world type party like Matrix Reloaded and Revolutions, where they were dancing and sex and drugs. And I do think something's going to happen with house music. I think we're going to see something happen between older brother and younger brother. I think we're going to see a coming of age and maybe a realization that he doesn't like that lifestyle. Maybe that he is different. And then we'll see kind of how he responds to that. I think from the girls' perspective, they're going to end up at the same moon party, and shit's going to go down between them, and they get drunk and angry, and they're going to fight over guys, and I think that something's going to happen. Then I think for the Ratliff family, I think that you're going to see Jason Isaacs take it early out. I think that would be a very interesting way to end his character. I think just to start the show with him on the bed, pulling the trigger and being done with his character would be a very interesting beginning. Especially if everyone is out, especially if daughter is at monastery, wife is out doing something, and then all of a sudden,
massage.
It's never addressed again. It's like, you leave it to the next episode, you let it ride. I think that would be a very interesting little twist, in the show. Go ahead, Jeremiah.
What do you think? Yeah,
I have a weird feeling that he's going to become the next Gary, and he's going to become the next person of that whole White Lotus thing. He takes his place or something.
He kills Gary and takes over?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
He has asked Gary about hey, so he was very interested. How's his life of running?
Mm-hmm. The only difference, he doesn't have anything. He has no special secret bank account. He has nothing. He's broke. Yeah. His accounts are frozen. I can't believe that he hasn't been declined at the White Lotus.
Well, I don't think they're paying
paid for resort. So he has nothing. Yeah. He doesn't need to pay for anything. It's just all paid.
So the piggyback what Sean was talking about the moon landing, the moon dance party, and everything like that. When I was watching at the end of the episode, I got this Pinocchio vibe. Like these bad kids are going to Pleasure Island.
Yes.
And I have a feeling that a few of them are not going to be coming back in some ways, that they're going to be staying
They're going to become donkeys.
Or they're going to get kidnapped, or they're going to die. They're going to Pleasure Island, and a lot of them are not going to come back. And that's the vibe I got. They're going to either it's going to have a hard time with them coming back, It just feels weird, man. It just doesn't feel right, dude. I mean,
I also think Mike White doesn't necessarily adhere to the Hollywood rules, so he can do whatever the fuck he wants.
That's what I'm thinking too, man. This guy has he can do whatever he wants, dude. And that brings us to the end of our review. Now it's time in the podcast where each of the hosts provides his score on the following scale. Eddie, can you please provide the scale?
Yes. 0, the perfect episode. You don't need shit to enjoy it. 1, the feel-good first cocktail. 2, a happy buzz. 3, you're going to Uber lifting home. 4, rough morning watch of shame. 5, blackout, shit-faced, spring break drunk.
Cool.
All right, I'll go first. I think this is...
come on, Eddie.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, right now.
I'm sorry.
2 seasons.
This is a new thing I've never really been a fan of. No,
You know why? Here's why Sean doesn't like it, because he always bases his off of ours.
You're just trying to control the host. Um, all right, ready?
That's so funny. All right, you guys ready?
Don't get
3,
mad at me, okay?
2,
You got mad at me last
1.
time. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'll go first. So I think that this episode did exactly what it needed to do. It gave us some answers, some clarification on characters, and set a direction for the rest of the episodes. I think that with 8 episodes only in this season, or 7 or 6 in the past, or whatever they've had, it's very difficult to have character development and story driven at the same time. I think that's a challenge no matter who you are as a writer or what story or arc you're looking at. I think the failure of this season certainly has been character development and a little bit on story. I think the story has become a little stale. They're at this 5-star resort. It's beautiful. Let's fucking go. Let's make it interesting. And I think this episode definitely set up interesting. You know, the stage is set. We've got the Moon Festival coming up. The yacht episode did not go like I anticipated it going. I thought it would be a little more crazy and something would happen, but instead we got information. We got data instead of action, which is fine. The final little piece is the staff. I think the staff is starting to devolve and become a little crazy. We've got the introduction of the gun, the loss of the gun, Belinda finding out that Gary Glenn Ross is kind of important, and I think that it's all going to come to this. You know, get ready, because these next 4 episodes are going to be where the meat is. And if it's not, then the show's going to fail. So that's what has to happen. So for me, this episode is a 1. It's a feel-good first cocktail. I think that as far as a episode that gives you both story progression and character progression, it did both. Jeremiah.
So I do agree with Sean that, you know, this was a much of a better, more of an improvement episode than the last episode. However, I feel like this feels like the House of Dragon season 2. A lot of show and no tell. We don't know what's going on. We have an idea what's going on, and you're kind of getting bored of it. You know, it's like I don't care about any of these storylines in a lot of ways. Now it looks like things are going to be setting up, and it looks like we're going to get to what we want. You know, the meat. You know, the storm that's going to be coming. You know, we're going to have some crazy shit over in Pleasure Island and all that stuff. And I'm looking forward to see if this is going to be the next episode that's going to like get what White Lotus is all about here, you know? So right now, this is an easy one for me. It was not bad of an episode, but you know what? I kind of expected more a little bit. So this is a 2-drink episode for me.
Nice. I'll take the next one. So I came into this recording with a better score in mind than what I'm actually giving it. Not by a ton, but you guys kind of talked me down. And my frustration is the season. Right. And I know that we're basing this on an episode by episode basis. And I fully hear, Sean, what you're saying. I really do think that it was a good episode in the sense of it did what it needed to do, especially to write the yacht from episode 3. My problem is, and this is something I said in the first episode of White Lotus, is that this season there's too many spider webs going out, right? There's too many different roads that we're traveling. And I know that they're going to come back and converge and all that stuff. My problem is my patience, like Jeremy's saying, my patience is being tested. I don't care. And it's not even that. There's not a character I hate enough to want to watch.
God forbid a national television tests your patience, Brandon.
As Eddie would say, Sean, my time. My problem is there's not a character that I hate enough to want to see them die and fail and, you know, their life to get ruined. Even Jason Isaacs. But there's also not a character that I'm rooting for. Chelsea's annoying. Rick is just a closed shop of just wonder. Who knows, right? The problem is that the characters just aren't strong enough to hold attention. And for that, I'm giving this a 2.21. You know, it is what it is. I'm hoping that it gets better. I know it probably will, but at the same time, it's a whole lot of wanting and a whole lot of not getting. So 2.21 is mine. And Eddie, round us off, bud.
On IMDb, this is the highest rating episode that they have. I'm looking back at season 1, and you know what? I mean, the first 3 episodes, I mean, it was 7.3, 7.5, 7.8, 7.9. It's following suit with the White Lotus rating, with the scoring of IMDb, of at least with that. And you know what? I mean, like, the first 3 episodes were, I want to say last episode 7.0 was probably the lowest that a White Lotus episode had. So we bashed it. Everyone bashed it. Everyone hated it. A lot, there's a few that liked it. I personally feel like this one, it's keeping up with the White Lotus experience. It wants you to feel like it's dull, and it's like, I'm bored of this experience. Let's pick it up. And it always has. This is we're midway. So we're midway, and it sets you up with the rest of the season. They all wanted something else besides the White Lotus. They're all bored of the White Lotus itself. So it's what's happening outside of the White Lotus that's going to get them in trouble, and they're going to bring it back to the White Lotus. But I do think this episode showed a little bit more of the people, the characters, with what they're going into the next, their next step. They're all going to be tested. They're all going to be tested with the brothers, the sister. She's always relies on maybe her younger brother as being there. The Ratliffs, the mom, the husband and the wife. Rick is, I feel like he's actually going to realize he actually is in love with his girlfriend, and she might die because of it. And then also, the other couple, the three girls, they're going to realize something. One of them is not who they want, and it's probably going to be the famous one, that they'll realize that she's not as cool as they thought she was. I feel like this episode definitely picked it up, though. So I'm giving this a 1.84. This is definitely in the ones for me personally. This is a 1.84 personally. So
no
this
judgment,
is below
but why
the 2
8.4?
drinks.
Why 8.4 and not like just a 1.8? Like why qualify
He
it?
wants to
even
get
more?
this really cool score, this unique score that I'm writing down.
1.84. It's a feel good first cocktail, and you know what? I put too much ice in it, so it went to the 8.4 level of a drink.
Sean, the reason is that there are some 1.8s and there's some 1.84s, and that's what we have.
All right, when you combine the scores and divide by 4, what does White Lotus Season 3, Episode 4 get a rating of?
It gives us a 1.7625.
That right there.
1.7625.
1.7625. All right, 1.7625. Jeremiah, where does that put us on the list of episodes for Season 3 of White Lotus?
Say 2?
It's the third best episode for Season 3 of White Lotus.
Or the third worst?
No, third best.
Second worst.
Or the
Or second worst.
third worst. If there's only 4 episodes, it's either the third best or the third worst.
It's the third best.
So
Is it the top? Is it a top 3? As in like number 3?
Yeah, it's number 3. It's the third.
It's number 3 actually.
Number 3.
So
it's number 3 of 4.
number 2 is number 1. Number 1 is number 2. Number 4 is number 3.
Okay.
And number 3 is number 4.
oh, this is
So
like
basically, it's an improvement from number 3, from episode 3, but not quite as good as episodes 1 and 2.
So it actually brought the series average to a 1.966.
See, look at that. We're in the ones.
So it brought down into out of the happy buzz
Promising.
into a first drink, first cocktail type of thing.
Gives us a little bit of hope. It's promising.
It's like the betting markets. It just is okay. Like, let's go. Let's see what happens.
Yeah,
All
I
right,
like what
well-
you did, but let's just see. Let's build off of it.
So, if you enjoyed our review or a fan of the podcast, we ask you please give us a 5-star review wherever you're listening. Give us a physical review. Shoot on over to YouTube where our movie reviews are. You can see our bright and shining faces. You can ring that bell, subscribe, and you can see our Gentleman Weeklies. You can see our some flubs and some behind the scenes stuff. And then also check out our Instagram at the.gentleman podcast. The dot means everything. It means a lot. If you want to reach out to us and tell us how good or bad we're doing, you go ahead and drop us a DM on Instagram or leave a comment on our YouTube page, and we'll get we'll answer you. We really don't have anything to do. We just sit here and talk about movies and drinks. So it's very, very fun what we do. Anyway,
So Brandon,
No life responsibilities.
keep going.
go ahead.
Over under for Bangkok next episode. What's the over and under? Yes or no?
Oh, yes, because I looked at IMDb.
You're
We should probably be reading
too.
IMDb before we record. Shall I read it?
That's funny.
Shall I read
damn
it?
it.
Yes. Read number 4.
As a yacht party extends into the night and friends explore Bangkok's clubs, parallel stories unfold with family disagreements over future plans. And ready for this, Eddie? And a mysterious happenings and mysterious happenings at a nearby hotel. So we are going to get some Bangkok. Jeremiah's going to be excited and happy. And we've got now tying in another resort.
Thailand, yo.
The question is
Bangkok
it the old
frivolity?
But is it the old person's resort? That's the question.
No, it's not going to be. No, it's not going to be. It's not going to be AARP's version of White Lotus.
It's callback.
It is going to
The
be.
old person's resort was not in Bangkok. They had to go somewhere for Bangkok, so
Yeah.
They have to go to Bangkok. So,
they go to Bangkok.
all right. With that, thank you so much, and cheers, gentlemen. Cheers.
Cheers.